So I have my scenes set up, ready to go. Next thing I need to do is to begin to add some actual content to these scenes. So we're going to go to our assets library, where we'll be able to see all the assets we've uploaded, along with the assets that are pre-provided by XR Plus. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and add my 4 flags to the home page. So we're just going to click on our first flag, add it to the scene. Now, when you add it in, you'll see we're a bit of a strange angle. Hard to really see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go onto the rotation tool, and we're just going to rotate so that we can kind of see it a bit more like we're looking at the screen of our prototype. Try and get it fairly straight. There we go. And then I'm going to go onto my asset. Now, I can use the size slider here to make the image bigger or smaller. I'm going to size it down to size 5, I think. That's about right for me. And then I want to actually move its position on the screen. So I'm going to go to the position tool now, rather than the rotation one. I'm going to click on the square, and that will allow me to drag and drop and move my flag. And then I'm just going to repeat the process for my other flags. So go to my assets library. I'm going to add the next flag. I'm going to resize it down to size 5. And I will then reposition it in wherever I want it to go. Keep doing that. So now we'll do the next one. Size 5. And obviously, whilst I'm doing size 5, you will be able to choose whatever size you want your asset to be. And the last of my 4 flags going in. Okay, so I've now got my 4 flags on there. I'd like to get a bit of text on there to perhaps have the name of my app. So I'm going to my assets library. Now, to add our own text, we're going to go onto the text tool here, and we're going to select that asset. It will now appear in our library. We're going to add to scene, and then our piece of text will appear. Again, we can move it with our square. We can play around with the size of our text there. And I'm just going to call mine text up the top here. So if we try and click onto that, we can't edit it. We have to go up here. So I'll call it PAEW, which is our acronym for our app. We can change a little bit of choice of font. We're limited, but we have a little bit of choice. I'm going to go with Oswald. And we can change the color of our writing there. I'm going to go with a bit of black, I think. And then we'll click onto our square. So then I've got my text asset in. And lastly, I'm going to add a background to this. So I'm going to go again to my assets library. This is a little background that I've created. I'm going to install that up. Now, obviously, at the moment, it's too small for the background. And I'm going to need to reposition it. So first of all, I'm just going to drag it up. Actually, that works pretty well. And there is my background. Now, it may be that as you add images, they may cover up. So our background may go in the foreground. So if we change the Y positioner tool, so if I put a higher number in there, say, you'll see that now, and if we perhaps rotate it, we can see this a little bit more easily. We've moved it up in the world, so it's kind of going to be above our background there. If we want to be able to see our flags, which are by default on 0, if we put a smaller number in there, like that, then we've now managed to move our flag there behind us. So again, if we rotate our rotation tool, you can see now our background there is just slightly lower than our flags and our text, so it's gone into the background. Okay, so let's rotate that back up there. So now we've obviously got some sort of working first scene, so we could then go to our next scene, and we can just repeat the process. This is Botswana, so I'll add on my Botswana flag. I'll add on my text. Now, once we've added the text once, we don't need to keep adding text asset. We can just put it into there. And we can, whoops, I didn't get onto that properly. We can make sure we're on our position tool. There we go, a little bit more careful. So we can position that up. Let's put in Botswana. And again, we'll change after that. And we can just kind of work our way through like this, building up our resources. Okay, obviously we could continue adding backgrounds, etc., and we could just work our way through our different pages and scenes, adding item as we go. And you can see as you work your way through, the ones that are empty still will say that. And down here we can choose as well our starting scene, which is home for us, so it doesn't matter what order you put them in there, we can always choose where we want to start.